final time, we are going behind the mind. This time, the exquisite, the super strategic. Episode 8 of Survivor Durant's Battle of the Best series with the one and only Samuel Pickett. He is here.
How's it going, everybody?
Sam has already watched the episode and he's took plenty of notes. He's here to analyze it for you and ask the questions that you want to know. I'll be explaining the creative decisions behind making the game and also the editing decisions behind the episode. Then we'll be giving away the award for the player of the episode. After that, I'll deep dive with a special cast member from the episode in a segment I like to call 1 year later, discussing where their life is at now, post Battle of the Best. And finally, some deleted scenes, clips that couldn't make it into the episode here just for you to see. And it goes without saying, spoiler alert, if you have not watched this week's episode of Battle of the Best, you're about to be spoiled. 3, 2, 1, let's go behind the mind.
This episode is a doozy. So many moving parts, so many moving questions.
I didn't know questions could move.
Hey, questions can do a lot of things. Starting off, we see Ronnie and Kirk. They're talking about what had happened previously. Mason going home. That whole situation and Ronnie and Kirk's little spat at the tribal council.
Ronnie started to sink his game whenever he helped move the ninja for Mason and then advocated so hard to put the ninja on Kirk and put pressure on Kirk to play his idol. Obviously that didn't happen. Mason put the ninja on Gabe because he was campaigning so hard that Kirk have the ninja on him. It caused a little tiff between Kirk and Ronnie.
A tiff that Ronnie and Kirk worked on mending immediately after that council, as we see. We then turn to Taylor. We see that the advantage that she'd won from the previous tribal council gives her the chance to cancel any shifting vote topic that we see.
Any of the next two.
Let me just ask you, what led to the inclusion of that advantage?
There had to be some sort of reward for people who decided to give into the temptation of the assassin's twist and vote to give immunity to the person who they just voted out. It's kind of the reverse of Season 6. In Season 6, there were so many times of, like, here's a reward if you vote this person out. This time it's here's a reward if you give this person safety. This deep into the game, and this is why there isn't any other crazy things happening, is because when you get to a certain point in the game strategy needs to be turned up a notch, and the twists and the craziness needs to be taken down a notch. And this is that point. And so Taylor having a crazy advantage could be stupid overpowered at this point. And so that's why Taylor simply has the ability to cancel one of the next two shifting vote topics.
So we hear a little bit about Taylor's plan.
She got a plan?
Taylor always got a plan.
What's this plan?
This plan, in particular, is in the following order. She wants Ronnie, she wants Kirk, then she wants Gabe. That is her boot order. But we'll see what happens with that once we get to our next immunity challenge, the momentum ball.
Oh yeah, good times. And also here we see another authentic Survivor challenge come into play at Survivor Durant. We've never really had a lot of authentic Survivor challenges. And then we see them drop like flies.
And yes, then they drop like flies. And then we see the final two in, Dylan and Ronnie, just casually chatting.
It's hard to tell, but what they're actually saying is Dylan is saying, you should throw it to me. And Ronnie's like, no, I don't think that I'll do that. And Dylan's like, but you're safe. And Ronnie's like, yeah, there's no point in throwing it to you. Let's just see who's going to win. And then Dylan gets distracted in the middle of telling him this, of why he should drop out, that Dylan falls.
Dylan falls while trying to convince a throw, which leads Ronnie with immunity. So much for Taylor's boot order.
Yeah, and Dylan was telling Ronnie that he was safe and all these things. It didn't work.
We catch a little bit on Ronnie's perspective with Mason having gone home. That was a pretty sad moment for Ronnie. He has been wanting to work with Mason.
He voted him out. It's his fault.
And then we hear that Ronnie's starting to think that maybe Ryan needs to go.
Yeah, pretty wild to hear. Those are the two closest pair left in the game.
Dylan has his eyes set on Kirk, and he has a plan. He wants to nullify Kirk's idol.
And then loot his body.
And get whatever he has left.
because he thinks that he has 2 idols.
I, however, have a question for you about that idol nullifier.
Okay.
Back when we hit merge, we didn't give immunity to the winner. We gave an immunity idol that could be sold or it could be used. Could the idol nullifier have been used on that idol?
No, it couldn't have been. That would have been really interesting to see, but that would be also really powerful to override someone's immunity win. But the individual immunity idol that was given away at the top of the merge whenever a player won the immunity challenge, that was for that person alone, or if they didn't use it by the end of the tribal council, they could sell it for 3 fire tokens. We obviously seen that no one ever sold it. Each time it was one, which was Jacobs, then Peyton, then Mason, they always played it. They always used it. They never sold it. Very wisely. But no, if Dylan had chosen to use the idol nullifier on that particular thing, it wouldn't have worked. The idol nullifier works on a hidden immunity idol. This is a individual immunity idol, not a hidden immunity idol.
Gabe, we get a little bit of his perspective on this whole situation. He's talking about everyone's hurt feelings, and his worry that hurt feelings may affect how
he garners jury votes. I mean, rightfully so. He should be worrying about jury votes. Everyone should be thinking and worrying about jury votes. You're in the final 7. And he does bring up that he has maybe made Mason and Peyton feel sour about him. You kind of see it dawn on Gabe's face that, man, if I get to the end, who's going to vote for me? And he's trying to figure out who he's going to go to the end with.
So we see this whole plan to take out Kirk, to go after the king.
At first, we see Taylor going along with it. She says to the camera, Dylan plans on using his idol nullifier to cancel Kirk's idol. So perhaps I can convince Kirk for him to give me his idol and for him to give me his challenge advantage that he has for the last challenge that he got from the lockbox. Maybe I can convince Kirk to give me those things and then I just let Kirk go.
We see that there's the plan, but suddenly there's a kink in the plan. When we see the boys, they're starting to lean a different direction. They're starting to look with their eyes at Ryan.
Yeah, in the most non-sexual way as well when they look with their eyes at Ryan. Because it's Kirk, Gabe, Nate, and Ronnie. And they all agree that Ryan is the most dangerous person in the game currently.
Ryan is a threat when it comes to challenges and has more than proven herself the social butterfly. So the boys start talking that maybe Ryan needs to go as Kirk eats this casual apple he pulled out of somewhere. Ryan admits to us that she has at this point multiple final 3s.
She's been willing and dealing in almost every combination of people you can think of.
How many was it? 4, 8, 22 different final 3s?
There's several there. I think she had final 3s with people that weren't even playing the game.
I have a final 3 with Tyler from Assassin's Creed.
I have a final 3 with Cracker Man.
Ryan wants to take Gabe to the end because...
And I think that's a very good read on Ryan's part. Especially after we get the confessional with Gabe, and Gabe is
worried about the ability to garner some of the final jury votes.
Yeah, Gabe's being very outspoken about his hesitancies of the jury. And Ryan is reading that correctly. And so if Ryan were to take Gabe to the end, I think that's a really good bet on her end.
Nate feels a bit worried because he is the last of Survivor to Ransom winners in the game. And he feels he's going to be going soon. He's got to start making some deals. He's got to start making some moves. Or it's going to be him on the chopping block. And then we get to the next of what Taylor calls a cluster with our next tribal council. And we very quickly see that our shifting vote topic is the ninja. But it's not just the ninja, it's the super ninja. Because in this round alone, the ninja is worth 2 votes against you. The person who, luckily, or unluckily in their case, gets the most votes for that shifting vote is Dylan, who immediately moves it back to its rightful place around Kirk's neck. And it seems like the plan all along is coming to fruition. But not, because we see that, unbeknownst to everyone, back at the Merge Feast, Taylor found the secret scroll. Not an idol, and she gave it to Kirk. And the two of them had hatched this whole plan to put the ninja on Kirk and for Kirk to use the secret scroll, which the secret scroll states, by whoever has them, you must have the ninja on you when you use it. And if you do, for that round only, the ninja is immunity.
Yes. And I would say that the plan wasn't hatched by them. The plan was hatched by Taylor. And she was like, Kirk, if you want to stay, here's how you're going to stay. She told him what to do. It was very much her strong arming the game.
It's insane to see the back end of this. Watching it unfold versus watching the episode where you really get to see all the little details, the side conversations, everything, really puts in perspective just how much of this move, 100% of it, was Taylor.
Yeah, and I edited the episode this way so that we never once mentioned the whole time that Taylor had this power, that Taylor had this scroll advantage. This was another decision that I made before I even began editing. I knew that I wanted to do this idea because I remember it being such a big deal at Tribal Council, such a blindside to everyone, that I wanted the audience to feel as equally blindsided as the players sitting at Tribal Council were. And it's all because of Taylor.
And we see Ryan, Gabe, and finally, our next member of the jury is Gabe.
Yeah, there were some jaws on the floor, and not just from the players, but from the jury as well. No one's seen that coming. Gabe said, "Who's Kirk voting out?"
I just want everyone watching this to go back to that episode. Make sure you look at Jacob's face during this Tribal Council. It's great.
Gabe had an idol in his pocket, and how was, you can't really blame Gabe in that moment. How was Gabe to know to play his idol? Everything looks all good. How was Gabe to know that he was next in line?
He didn't. It was as complete of a blindside on Gabe as Gabe's on Peyton had been.
And it was such a brilliant play on Taylor. For more than one reason. Half of it is accident. For the main part, she wanted to vote out Gabe because Gabe has proven to be a chaotic player. If Gabe's willing to turn on Peyton, Gabe's willing to turn on anybody. And so Taylor did it for the right strategic reasons to vote out Gabe, to get rid of the chaotic element of the game of the person who she thinks will have no hesitancy in writing down her name. This was another really good play, and this is the accident part, because people like Ryan were starting to consider to take Gabe to the end. Gabe has made a lot of people mad on the jury. People are questioning his motives. They're questioning the decisions he's made in the game. So if people want to take Gabe to the end and get an easy win, that's going to steal someone else's spot at the end. And Taylor accidentally voted out the person that Ryan wanted to go deep with. Maybe that will pay off in spades and she'll take Gabe's spot and get to go deep with Ryan.
We see the fallout of this tribal. Feelings of betrayal all around. Ryan feels betrayed that she got a vote from Ronnie.
Yeah, and then Ronnie admits that he voted for her. And he's like, oh, I'll explain why. He's already in hot water from the final 8 Tribal Council where Mason went home. This is digging him more of a grave.
But she's not the only one feeling betrayed. He's not the only one in hot water. Because Kirk, surviving like a tick,
knows that everyone lied to him and that everyone can't be trusted. But it's like, what can he do? Like, at the same time, he does get to point at everyone and say, y'all are all a bunch of liars. But they have the numbers, so it's not like Kirk has any power to do anything about it. Now, Ronnie, what we do learn is that conversation with the boys, with Ronnie, Nate, Gabe, and Kirk. Because Ronnie voted out Ryan, that means Ronnie was all in on that plan. He really did want to see Ryan go home.
And let me point out, the only one.
Right, from the 4.
That
should tell you how far out of the loop he was. Everyone else was committed to voting out Kirk. Kirk, I think, believed that the plan was Nate until Taylor pulled him aside and said, here's the ninja, vote Gabe. And we know from the first confessional with Ronnie how much of a threat he perceives Ryan to be, that Ryan's dominating conversations and everyone here would vote for Ryan to win. So we understand why he wants Ryan to go. Maybe his desire to have Ryan leave blindsided him into believing that other people would actually go with this plan.
We also see that Ronnie wants Taylor as a final two because he does not believe Taylor has done anything.
She hasn't this whole time. Clearly
not. Not a single thing, definitely.
What's the worst that could happen?
Dylan successfully loots Gabe's body, and from there, he gets not only the idol that Gabe found, but also Cameron's advantage from a millennia ago that is still yet to be used.
The cursed double vote. And it's so funny that he does get Gabe's idol because that was Dylan's idol to begin with. If you remember at the auction, Dylan bought the clue to the idol. He shared it with Gabe and Gabe found it. So that it's all coming full circle. And then Dylan hatches this plan that if he uses the idol to keep him safe at 6...
he can skip his vote for the double vote at 5. And then we hear, for the millionth time, this was Ronnie's wildest tribal ever.
Yeah. Ronnie's been on a roller coaster for a while, right? Like, Ronnie has seen some stuff in his day. First, the very first vote of the game was the hardest vote he's ever been to when it was between Abby and Cameron, who's going home. Then we get to the merged tribal council, where it's the double vote out, and we see Jacobs and then Cameron go, and it's the craziest tribal ever. Then we get to the next tribal, when Gabe gives Peyton the cursed idol, and Peyton goes home unanimously. And according to Ronnie, it's the craziest tribal ever. And then we get to the final 8 tribal, where Mason and Kirk go to rocks to determine who's going to have immunity. And the person who doesn't have immunity is going home. Kirk gets immunity, Mason goes home, and it's the craziest tribal ever. So once again, it's the craziest tribal ever. Gabe goes home. Who's seen that coming? Well, not Ronnie.
We get pretty quickly into our next immunity challenge. The ball maneuver challenge. You have these wooden contraptions, and you've got to roll a small metal ball down to try to get it into slots. So part 1, you had the option to get 6 balls in the holes.
On the paddle, yeah.
On the paddle.
You could stop at 3, or you could go for 6.
If you stopped at 3, you moved on to start on part 2, the snake.
The snake.
If you got all 6, however, you got the advantage on the snake of when you got the first one in, you could start the second one from the first one. And when you got the second one in, you could start the last one from the second one. A huge advantage if you're willing to take the time. I need to put in that time.
Mm-hmm. And it paid off because as soon as Kirk got 3, he moved immediately to the snake. Dylan did too, but Dylan went back to finish it and got all 6. Taylor, Ronnie, and Ryan, they all got 6 and moved on to the snake. And then at the end of the day, we see Ryan beat Kirk, even though Kirk had that whole time to try to land the last ball on the snake. He couldn't do it. So that advantage of getting to place your ball, your last ball where the second one was very crucial.
Ryan has immunity. I feel like we've said that before.
Yeah, once or twice.
A few times.
Oh, 7.
And we hear a little of Ryan's insight on what she's feeling. She's
thinking about, it wouldn't be such a bad thing if I get 4th place, because then I wouldn't make it to the end. And the end stresses me out.
And we hear some more insight about Taylor's gameplay. Taylor has been in the shadows this entire game.
So in the shadows that people want to go to the end with her. Like, you talk about a submerged game. It's a very sought after type of gameplay that only few people can actually pull off.
Ryan and Kirk, we get a little tender moment. And they make up for Ryan voting out Kirk, or attempting to.
Yeah, Kirk doesn't have much of a choice. It's either make up with Ryan or go home, right? He needs Ryan.
On the other side of the yard, however, a few people have started altering their last-minute plans after their last-minute plans got changed and didn't work through. And the boys realize that Kirk will likely not be going home this time. He's going to use his idol. He's going to be safe. Ryan, safe. So who can they vote for who isn't safe and isn't
in possession of an idol? That's Taylor. Wonder who we're going to vote for. Taylor. And then on the other side of the yard, we see Taylor, Kirk, and Ryan talking about what their plan is.
And
Kirk's going to play the idol, be immune. Ryan's already immune. If they go to rocks, because there's 3 votes on Taylor, and Taylor, Kirk, and Ryan, those 3, they're going to stick together. Let's say that they all 3 vote out Nate. So now there's 3 votes Nate, 3 votes Taylor. We're tied. The rules of Survivor state that we'll go to revote. So let's say it's still 2 votes, 2 votes. We're tied again. So now the rules of Survivor state that because we are deadlocked, they will be punished by you have to do a unanimous vote. If the 4 people voting, that would be Ronnie, Dylan, Ryan, Kirk. If the 4 of them do not unanimously decide to vote out one person or the other, the 2 people who are currently vulnerable, Nate and Taylor, would gain immunity, and everyone else has to go to rocks, and the odd person out would go home. Well, the only people to draw rocks would be Dylan and Ronnie. The side of Taylor, Kirk, and Ryan can't lose. Their side has immunity, and their side has an idol, so they win in a tie.
Nate, however, thinks it's going to go a little differently.
He thinks it's him, just like he did the last few votes.
He's wondering who spilled the beans to Kirk.
We got a leaker. Who could it be?
Who could it be? We see Taylor has decided she's using the blackmail advantage she got.
She did. She used it on Ronnie to vote for Nate. And if he doesn't, he can't compete in the next immunity challenge and will take an automatic vote against him at this tribal council.
Seemed like Taylor's setting her sights on the last Survivor Durant winner.
It would seem so. She wants him to vote out Nate. And then Ryan suggests, well, how about the 4 of us just pile the rest on to Nate? That's 4 votes Nate. He's gone.
We hear a bit of Kirk's insight about his whole career and how some people call him a 5th place or 4th place goddess. He gets close to the end, but never to it.
That ain't true.
That ain't true.
It's just what you do in a game of Survivor. In a game of Survivor, you just take Tyler Kakuno to the 3rd or 4th place spot and cut him and use him as a challenge slug because you know that you can beat him in any and every challenge. And you take Kirk Carlson to 4th or 5th place and use it as a shield because you know he's going to be taking all the arrows. Just what you do in a game of Survivor.
Yeah, obviously. I don't know why they haven't done that on the TV show yet.
They will.
Survivor 46 featuring Kirk Carlson and Tyler Kakuno.
The shield and the slug.
Nate does not trust Taylor. He's realized that the only person who could have been the leak is Taylor. Nate thinks Taylor's after him. Maybe if he does survive, the way he's played hasn't been the best for a final jury.
He does say he wishes that he would have played harder or better, or whatever word he used. He's disappointed in his gameplay.
He'd previously mentioned that he needs to start making some moves. He's been more just going with what everyone else says. We've heard players previously state that, he's just coming up. Who are we voting for? Dylan danger. Feels like everyone's in danger. But he's got a plan.
What's his plan?
Well, he's going to be immune. He ain't voting.
Okay, that's a good plan.
That's the best plan.
Guaranteed spot, final 5 for Dylan.
And we get to the final 6, tribal. The shifting vote topic is, who do you want to break a tie in the event of it's canceled?
Yeah.
Taylor uses the advantage that she received at the beginning of this episode and is not taking any chances with picking a tiebreaker. It's done. It's over. It's canceled. Bye-bye.
Can't blame her.
And we see the ninja once again restored to its rightful spot around Kirk's neck. And Kirk finally uses that immunity idol that he showed everyone a millennia ago. A few more conversations happen before Dylan steps up and says, hey, I want to use this idol as well. We end this episode with Ronnie.
Ronnie goes home, not Nate. Ronnie did vote out Nate. And Taylor gets her way again. She said that she wanted Ronnie to go, not Nate. Now we're left with the final 5. There are no more idols in the game. Dylan has the only advantage left in the game of final 5. And in the final 5, he has a double vote. That's crucial to have in the final 5. Kirk has a final challenge advantage. And we have 5 very different stories. And it all comes down to this. You have anything else that you want to go over, Sam, or talk about before we end the final Behind the Mind?
I know it was briefly touched upon earlier, but this episode, there was no major twists. There was no Mystery Islands. There was no Assassin's themes. None of the major twists that we had seen throughout Battle of the Best. And why is it that this point, this moment in time, were they abandoned?
Yeah, so I think at a certain point in the game, twists need to take a back seat and the players just need to play. You know, twists are, in my opinion, imperative for a game of Survivor, because if a Survivor game is straightforward and the same every time, how is the game to evolve? How are you supposed to get better as a player? You know what to expect. You just do this wash, rinse, repeat every time of a strategy that is successful. But twists can throw a kink in your plan, and it will really be a testament to how good of a player you are by how well you adapt to whatever the twist or twists are. But at this point, and this deep of the game, the players need to be focusing on how they can get to the end and who they should get to the end with, as well as focusing on jury management. And twists at this point would just force them to look the opposite direction. And so because we're so far into the game, that's why the creative decision was to not have any twists right now.
But now, it's time to award our player of the episode.
Alright, the player of the episode in 3, 2, 1, Taylor. How did I know that?
Is there a choice? Is there a choice?
I mean, she commanded that vote in the top 7, and so now she commanded that you name her as player of the episode.
I guess.
You don't have a choice. So there's no need to even talk about it. I agree with you 100%. That was the play of the game.
Oh, 100%. I mean, we have seen some great plays, some misplays, and some oofs. But this play was phenomenal.
It was. Well, Sam, thank you so much for your dedication to the Behind the Mind series. We literally couldn't have done it without you.
I'm happy to have been involved with it, even if I was held at gunpoint against my will at some portions, you know.
They didn't need to know that. You guys stay tuned to the finale of Battle of the Best. There is one final twist that will shake up the game in an untraditional way. The final immunity winner will have a unique power that's never been done before in the game and will influence who they will take with them to the end. Thank y'all so much for listening and going Behind the Mind. Oh, and I guess that we have one final guest for the 1 year later segment. You are the final guest for the 1 year later segment, so absolutely no pressure on your end to make this the best interview of all time.
Yeah.
And in case people at home don't recognize the voice, it is the 6th place king, Ronnie Rickman.
Yeah, great to be here. I appreciate it.
Thank you for giving us your time. You just barely missed the finale. You were the hump boy.
Yes.
You would have had, your moment in the sun of your video being in slow motion and me explaining of why you could possibly win the whole game.
Dang. This close to greatness.
Yeah. Year and a half later, you're still alive. Tell us what's new in your life.
So, a lot going on that's new in my life.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah. I guess maybe about 3 months ago now, bought a house here in good old Durant, Oklahoma. Getting to settle down for a little bit there. And then more recently than that, about 3 weeks ago, I got married.
Holy crap. What's going to happen 3 days from now?
Yeah, I really don't know. I guess time will tell. But yeah, so a lot of different life changes happening at the same time.
You've started your, I guess, American commute life, right?
Yeah,
find a wife, find a house.
Yeah, to some extent. Just bam, bam, bam.
What is next for you now?
Oh, man. I really don't know. Hopefully this is a little while down the road, but got a family now and start putting that together, and yeah, just start a new job as well. I guess that's something else that's new.
Really? What are you doing now?
So I am going to be working at a bank here in town as a senior relationship banker, just doing like a lot of, I guess, operational management of the community bank, getting to build relationships within the community and the different customers.
Only if they're seniors?
Yeah, only if they're seniors. That's how it works.
Building relationship with seniors.
Yeah, with seniors.
Interesting. We know that you just barely missed the hump for finale, got 6th place, a very good achievement in the game. What do you contribute getting the L anyone in particular, any a move or mismove that had happened? I know it's been a long time and it's hard to remember that far. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't even say like anything that you've done in particular that got you out. Maybe you didn't get yourself out.
Right.
What do you contribute to?
Oh man, when I think back to that, I think of a couple of different things that stand out to me personally. Just about everything that happened post-merge did not go in my favor, other than me winning one immunity challenge. I think Peyton going home during that fiasco was probably a big hit to my game as far as just having a number and somebody that I knew I could work with to some extent. It's funny to look back on now. We've talked it out. We're good. I really thought me and Ryan were going to be able to work together at that point in the game. And so kind of getting there, and I remember there was one point where I had a conversation with her. I think it was probably around Final 8, where there was a decision that had to be made about who was going home. And I could tell very much from our conversation that she was not willing to shift from kind of what the other side of the game was doing. And at that point, I kind of had a panic moment of the people that I thought I'd be able to work with at this point are not going to be in the same page. That was another point where I was like, oh, we might have to do something kind of drastic here, which I think is what led to me kind of fighting so hard to try and keep Mason around at that point in the game, is just kind of seeing that shift.
Understandably so, wanting to keep people around that you trust.
Absolutely.
Ryan was one of the people that did trust you and try to uphold your deal to go to the end to the game together as best they could. It would seem that Ryan didn't have as much power as maybe you guys hoped that she had to save you, because other members of her alliance, Dylan, Taylor, didn't want to keep you around.
Right. And you know, that's kind of funny to bring that up too, because that honestly just blindsided me a whole lot. Because I remember thinking at the time, and it's to me hilarious to look back on now, I was sitting there at that tribal, and even before, thinking there's no way that you can let Nate get any further in this game. Regardless of who you think is a bigger competitor and what challenges or anything like that, like, you can't risk that. There's no way they're not going to take him out right here, like they're telling me. And I listened to it, and they blindsided me. So it happens, but I guess it's kind of humorous to look back on now.
Was it the first time you've been blindsided?
Yes, absolutely. I got second in my first game, and then the next game I was pretty aware of where alliances stood and when I was going to be going home, so that one was kind of a big shock to me when it happened, I guess.
What is it like to be blindsided?
Just a lot of shock, kind of like an instant, like, sinking feeling of, oh, this is happening right now. And I don't get a whole lot of time to mentally prepare for this.
When the decision was made that you were playing the game, what was your initial strategy and approach to Battle of the Best?
Well, my first thought was probably the thought that all of us had that were within the Boys Alliance, which was that for the sake of our own game, we needed to try and branch out and not try and work with the same people, and make sure that we were trying to find different niches of people that we wanted to work with. So that was my goal, was to kind of connect with some people that you wouldn't have really seen coming, I guess, from that aspect. And I think I did a pretty good job of that in the early game. But it looks like our reputation preceded us a little bit, because, you know, after the fact, you just kind of hear people talk a little bit about what they were thinking. And it seemed like there were several people that still thought, we got to get the boys out. The boys are danger. Yeah. We don't know what they're going to do, and they're definitely working together. So my goal was to stay away from that, and then ultimately I had to embrace it after merge to try and get Mason to stay, but it was too little too late.
Who surprised you the most in Battle of the Best? Not even necessarily impressed you the most, but who surprised you the most?
Have to go to Gabe. I don't think I was expecting the move that he made at all.
He surprised us all.
I don't think that there was anything leading up to the moment that he mentioned that plan that I would have ever made me think that that's what he wanted to do.
Who knew he was capable of such deception?
I really didn't, you know.
Yeah, Gabe, we took pride on Gabe of his loyalty. He was, I think, on paper, the most loyal person ever.
For sure.
It's like, this guy can't betray me.
Yeah, and especially from, like, looking at it where I was at that point, you know, me and Gabe ran deep in the game. We were original tribe mates, the only two to make it past the first 2 rounds of the game.
You guys bonded super quick after being the only 2 members of your tribe left.
Sure.
It's like, we gotta watch each other.
Yeah, and so the moment that kind of happened to Peyton, there was, like, this fear within me of, did I just lose Gabe too? What's
gone to the dark
what's
side.
going to happen next, you know? I don't doubt that he's got some other trick up his sleeve at this point, but very interesting to see that happen and very much a surprise.
You know, Ronnie, we get messages in bottles all the time from fans of the show asking several different questions, but the main question that they ask constantly is, was it the craziest tribal ever?
I think so. It's got to be up there. I mean...
You know, you say that at like 4 different tribal councils.
Yeah.
It just gets crazier and crazy. The craziest tribal I've ever been to is what you say.
Yeah. It's always going to feel that way, but I can't look back at any point in the game that I played in that I thought, wow, this is crazy. But that moment, that was it for me. So
yeah. And it started with the extremely difficult tribal of Cameron or Abby.
Yeah.
We're deadlocked. And you're like, the first one's supposed to be the easiest.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we get to the crazy tribal at merge of 2 people are going.
Yeah.
And it's the craziest tribal ever. Then Gabe does the idle play on Peyton. And it's the craziest tribal ever. Then we go to rocks between Mason and Kirk to see who goes home.
Yeah.
Mason gets the wrong rock. It's the craziest tribal ever.
Yeah, I mean...
Then Taylor blindsides everybody by giving Kirk the scroll. Gabe goes home. Huge blindside. Craziest tribal ever.
Absolutely.
And then unfortunately, you're blindsided and you're the casualty in the final 6.
Yes.
Do you want to say it? Craziest tribal ever.
Craziest tribal ever. Most definitely. No, I mean, I look back, and every time that we go through it, you know, we'll sit around and talk about the gameplay and what happened. And like you said earlier, it's been a year, and things kind of slip from your memory. And every time we go through the sequence of events, I'm just kind of reminded of, like, how incredible each tribal was and how good the gameplay was. And so, I mean, I'm not mad that I went home at 6.
You shouldn't be.
So, no, I was super impressed every time somebody made a move, and it just seemed like it kept getting crazier throughout the whole thing.
It was definitely escalating. I'm very proud of you guys, and I'm proud of you, and thank you for being here and being the final guest of the 1 Year Later segment.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and I appreciate you so much for putting on an amazing game.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And now I think there's like 1 or 2 left. I'm going to show some deleted scenes.
Oh, okay. We love to hear that.
These are the original cast members. The ones I deemed best for Survivor Durant. First, representing Season 1, the winner, Colt Slick Daddy Brents. Also, representing Season 1, Dylan Lemons. Y'all just come, somewhere over there. Representing Season 2, I have chosen Briar Henry. And the winner, Amanda. But where is she? I don't see her. What's up with that? Representing Season 3, the winner, Jacobs. Also representing Season 3, Lena. Where's she at? Representing Season 4, the winner, Mason Harrell. Also representing Season 4, Autumn. Representing Season 5, alone, from the most dominant win, Nate Hodson. Season 6, the winner didn't impress me that much, so we got 3 representatives. Tyler Hamblin. No? How about Allie? No? How about Gabe? Representing Season 6, Part 2, the winner, and Gold Star for Most Improved Player, Peyton. Also representing Season 6, Part 2, Cameron.
representing Season 8, the winner, Edgar. And we gotta have the queen, Shelby. Now, if you will all turn and face me. Welcome, players. How are we doing? You now get to see who your true opponents are. Well, almost. Do some of you guys are some of you guys unable to play?
That would be me.
Autumn, we loved having you. At least you're here for support. We do thank you for being here. If you'll just take a seat for me, please.
Absolutely.
So I need some replacements. Got to fill some holes. I need people that I know will still play hard. I need run. And I need run. I think we got one more. Look for one more. 5 Feet of Fury, Abby's follow. Welcome, cast of Battle of the Best. Let's go over some rules. We'll address the tribe situation later, but let's go over the rules. Unless you are told anything differently, all of our challenges are non-contact. So at no time are you allowed to touch anybody. Little warning before the game starts. This game will be like any other game in the history of any Survivor game ever before. With that being said, you should make each vote count with purpose. Nothing will be guaranteed, and always be thinking about the end. Diabetics, Nate, Cole, Shelby, you kind of fall into that, and Gabe. So do not speak up too late. If you're starting to feel it, you need to let me know, okay? I understand that you guys need food. You guys know that I wanted this game to be hard. But you guys, I told you you wouldn't go with that. So I found a real good, even ground. We ain't gonna give you nothing. You have to work for it all. More on that later. Until this very moment, you have all been led to believe that this game will have a voodoo twist. That it's gonna be voodoo themed. Maybe, a little sneaky voodoo doll controlling people, who knows what's going on. That all has been a red herring to manipulate you and get you to believe something, and then we're going this way. So, in a good voodoo though, you need a recipe. You need ingredients for the voodoo. And we're gonna have some ingredients, the best of ingredients. We're gonna have the best players, the best location, and the best twists. All across the history and span of Survivor Durant's history. Mystery Island, in play. The Troll Twist, in play. Assassin Twist, in play. All of these twists, meeting hands, meeting each other, mixing around for the first time, and it creates some pretty interesting situations sometimes. What will happen when the Tree of Fate meets the Troll Twist? Plus, there are more than 2 brand new twists, but I'll leave those in the shadows. So, get ready for the most unpredictable, wildest, craziest Survivor game of all time. But Gyra had to calm me down to make sure that it was still about what Survivor is at its root and core, and I think we have a good balance, so don't worry about that. Okay. Let's talk. There's a lot right on this game, right? There's cameras. We've never done this before. What's going on? You guys all want it. You're hungry. I said it's going to rain. Y'all said bring it on. Let's talk. So, if you want to see if you have something truly special with a lump of coal, you take it and you put it under immense pressure. Then one of 2 things is going to happen. Either the pressure is going to break that coal. Or the coal is going to harden and become a diamond. What's going to happen to you? You're going to break under pressure? Or are you going to become the diamond that I know you to be? We're going to find out. Because Survivor Durant, the pressure is on. Come on in, guys! Joining you on your quest for the largest LRG prize of all time, two of the greatest LRG players. TSL, Taylor St. Louis, Kurt Carlson, a 20-year vet coming out of retirement. They will be your competition. Yeah, go ahead. Thank you guys so much for being here. How do you feel right now?
A little nervous, yeah, a little intimidating for sure.
They have done their homework. They've been studying. They're ready to play. Some of you might know who these people are. Some of you may not. But let me tell you, they're good. Kurt, 20-year vet, started the LRG page. 2-time Survivor winner. Has played 7, now 8 times. TSL has played more LRGs, I think, than anybody. She's one of the most experienced players out there. They're here for a reason, and they are here to push you to your limits. You will join your castmates. Now let's get to the tribe situation, shall we?
Someone's gonna be eating good after they get eliminated tonight.
I smell like marinated food is what I smell.
Okay, so the food part wouldn't be too bad if I didn't have to smell. If I have to smell that the whole time,
I'm gonna be miserable.
it'd be a different story.
So we're really gonna try and build something off the ground a little bit.
We have to.
We need
can't
to.
just sleep on the grill.
If we put something fork, like a decent sized fork log,
Yeah,
but we don't have anything. Is that actual vine right there?
looks like it.
Let's find some like real fresh rocks. Is what I'm thinking.
Literally the one I gave you first.
I have it in my pocket, but we need like something that can actually cut vine. Watch, we're gonna work real hard. He's gonna be like, oh, by the way, y'all don't even need your stamp. This one, see right here. See, it needs to come to a point like that first one you found. I think this is the first one you found.
Yeah, no, that.
Yeah, that comes to a good point. Just remember, I have the sharp rocks if we gotta go to tribal council, and they go with me.
I've been exceptionally lucky. I just feel so good. But the other thing I'm feeling is this is rough out here, folks. It is hot in the southern states. There are ants everywhere. We are so thirsty. This is the thirstiest Survivor game you've ever seen. These players are all dehydrated. Like, you can see my skin. It's just sticking up. But we're plugging through, and we're literally at. Is this the final 6?
It's done, I guess. Just that fucking bone at the end of it. I'd believe too. Are you serious? I thought you knew the truth that it was because I read it to you. No. The bone. Green on the black box.
Oh! See, I'm just dumb.
So, what I'm planning to do right now is I'm gonna ditch it in the woods.
Okay.
So then, because right now it's just too tempting, I think, for people to loot me and vote me out right now.
Yeah.
And like I said, I wanted to give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
But
You can just throw it in the whole time.
are you serious?
Yeah. That's not gonna make me feel bad about you in any way. Oh.
What's your Barrett,
I don't
man?
know.
Don't you, Barrett? Fuck you there, bud.
Hey, dude, that's tough.
Yeah, you have to
It is tough. It's in my bag. I'll go get it.
Didn't think that I would. maybe they were just thinking they had to do 3-2.
But if Taylor, if Taylor don't vote, then still get made out.
And I'm gonna name, so.
I might pretend then and pull out right then, which I did earlier, and just pretend.
Yeah.
And then, if I survive this, I'll just straight up give it to you. I can't chuck it, then you guys can just loot it from me. That's why I'm like torn. I don't want to be blindsided and then give somebody a final advantage. I don't even want to vote for it. I don't want to leave on that person, you know?
Yeah.
Like I was like, I told her to take it. I was like, please let me go right after me, so I can vote out the winners like Sandra did in Winners at War, or not that season.
Oh, I don't really watch
Okay.
much Survivor. Are you okay?
No, I'm not. I just
Your
want
eyes
you to
are
be.
watering.
I just want you to be legit. Because 2 rounds ago, you voted for me, and I didn't ever vote for you. Right, and I don't want to sour the jury or anything, because you know how they told me last time we lost the case. I don't want to release these suckers. And like I said at the start, I want women at the end. I promised it the whole time.
Yeah.
But if the two have to fight with the whole game, I'm just gonna feel really torn. It's like you guys have been saving me the whole time.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. Yeah. Sweet.
Need to be bigger here. This thing has any water left.
I don't know.
Why did you just now ask me? What'd you do? I just now emptied my bottle.
You can have the rest of that.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'll take 2 drinks.
Dave, you want to come over here and talk?
Where's Kirk at?
He went down there to go do a confessional.
Oh. Makes some sense. There might be some crumbs in here if you want them, Nate.
Okay.
Maybe we should go to the side. Yeah, that should help.
Right?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Unless there's something crazy that doesn't allow one of us to vote. And then, even so, I think you're still fine, you know? What if? Well, no, because it'd just be one vote. I mean, as long as it gets into
Even
with the 4 of us.
Even if the ninja is off of him, there's 6 of us, so
So
we'll
the
only
only
have
thing
2,
that I could
3
think-
votes max.
The only thing I could think is if him and Ronnie voted for the same person, they paid to move the ninja to that person and then also play the voodoo on that person. And so
I don't think Ronnie's
then
gonna go with him.
that's
He's been one
that's
to
a
come
huge
up
but
the
that's a
entire
huge swing,
Yeah.
you know. Ronnie was like pissed that we didn't get him out last round.
Right.
Last round? Yes.
He wanted to go.
Is that what you're saying?
Ronnie's wanted to freak out for the last like 2 or 3 years.
Oh,
And he was pissed.
I
that
see.
It didn't happen last
I
round.
see. I haven't talked to Ronnie at all, like the past 2 rounds.
I don't
Awful social.
I don't think he's gonna do that. I really don't. Let me talk to him. I
I don't think he would either, but you can talk to him too.
If I can find, I don't know.
I don't know where either of them are. I think that was Gabe. Kirk went off. I haven't seen Ronnie. He might be coming up here. Yeah, that's him. You can see his bright green fanny pack. It's his bright puke green, actually.
I mean, so if we can get him off, that's a landslide and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. If all 6 of us are in, then it should be easy.
Yeah.
But every time I say it should be easy, we go and there's just like chaos.
Yeah,
so
stuff pops off and it's like, okay, man.
Is that the guy?
I don't know if there's enough popping off. I'm trying to do the math. I just don't know if there's enough popping off.
I agree, but
What is it?
I'm trying to think if there's any way that survives this world. That's where we're voting, right? Like, there's no disagreement.
Yeah, I was coming over here to make sure that was the plan.
Yeah.
I don't know.
yeah. Okay. I haven't even seen it.
We're trying to see if there's any way someone else goes home this round. I don't think there is.
But if it's 6-1, he doesn't have 5 extra votes. There's no way. If he pulls out 5 extra votes, he deserves to stay. I'm just gonna
He does.
Win the game.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be real candid. Like, if that happens and I go home, I'm voting for him to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just being real.
Oh, I know,
Like,
I know.
I'm just saying.
You guys, I'm just chasing. Go get a second camera. Oh, more people. Sorry, guys.